What is going on, you guys? Today we are here with a beautiful 2002 Saab 9.3. Technically right here, this is what started off my interest into cars. This was my first ever car whenever I turned 15 years old. Underneath the hood, let me pop it open. Sorry, it's been a little while since last time I got to fiddle around with it. Underneath the hood, we got a beautiful 2.0 turbo, 4-speed automatic Saab 9.3 engine. Sadly, this one is not the Vigan with a 2.3 liter, but it's still one cool car. I'm just happy just to be back with it for a day. My dad left it to me to let me drive it around town and said, go ahead and review it. So let's hop on, let's do a quick outside walk around. As you guys can see, the paint has been taken great care of. My dad babies this car because this car has been his dream car since college. So let's hop on inside. So you guys, right here is basically all my radio stations, the power button, how I control the AC, and the best part is this car has seat warmers. You gotta love these things. And you got your traditional 4-speed automatic. There's the ignition, which is amazing engineering. This is not my favorite part. I hate that part. And this is your only cup holder. And one right here, which I find pretty funny, but also in foreign countries, people don't really live in their cars. They just use them just to drive around. And beautiful dash, you got up to 160. Your temperature gauge, your turbo gauge, your fuel, and your RPMs, which my red line begins exactly at 6,000 sharp. And just some fun things on the side. All right, you guys, with the sun in my face, because this is a beautiful day today, and winter's right around the corner, the car handles just as great as I remember it. So the reason why I don't own this car anymore is because my dad wanted it back and I wanted my own thing. So when I reached 17, like a traditional 17-year-old, sorry about that, I basically went out and bought my own car since I had my own job. And sorry about my new camera holder acting up. I bought it and this is my first time trying it out. So if it is acting up, much apologies. So after I was done with that, I bought my Nissan Maxima and basically started to modify that. My dad let me drive the Saab on occasion until my Maxima blew up. Then I got the nicest car in the family. He got kind of jealous and I bought my Acura TL Type S. And then now I own the Scion. So basically, that's the story behind this car. I got it whenever I was 15, like I just said. So basically, after all that, I own the Scion, which I love, but one thing that I do miss about this car, hands down, is the convertible, because at my high school, I drove one of the nicest cars, and everybody knew whenever I pulled up that I was always ready to race, ready to do whatever it took.
Which is not something I really enjoy hearing.
And that is my father right next door to me. And he requested not to be on camera because he likes his privacy. But Dad, you own the Saab. Quick question. What made you want to buy it?
I fell in love with Saabs during college. My buddy of mine, Dan Watkins, and I, we adored them. We always went to the car shows down there at the convention center. And fell in love with them. We love the looks of them. We love the style. Every Saab is a turbo. It's made in Sweden, and we just love the style and the story behind them. Then GM bought them, and basically,
They made them a little bit
crap
better.
after that.
The car, in my personal opinion, I think GM buying Saab was a very, very smart call until they sold them to the Chinese company and then Saab went to junk. I hate to say it, but I remember that this was my first car. And quick question, not everybody gets to drive a Saab around, but my biggest quick question is, how did you feel about your son driving your dream car?
Well, I was proud of him. I'm proud of the fact that you drove a car that probably most people in high school had no idea what the heck it was.
Nope. I remember.
So it's actually pretty cool. It's like I think this Saab 9.3 convertible is probably the best looking convertible made.
Really?
I honestly do. It's my own personal opinion. I think this is one of the sexiest cars. I think it has a lot of style, and I think it has a lot of speed. It'll get up and go.
Oh, you can tell me that
So,
again.
Yes, I know. I know how fast you've had this thing, or at least how much you'd admit you've had it up to.
I don't tell you some things, dude. You know that. But
And
I love
I'd rather
you.
not know. But
Good. And there's some things I'd rather not know about your past.
this is by far probably the sexiest convertible made.
Oh, heck yeah. You know, and that's just one thing about my dad, you guys, and my mom is they both support me on whatever I choose to do. I don't hide anything from them. If I mess up, I tell them flat out, hey, I messed up. And, you know, you live and learn, and I always learned that it's always better to admit something, whatever you did wrong.
Well, you only fail as if you fail to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. Now my biggest complaint about the Saab, I'm not too happy with the suspension because it got shot.
No, the suspension needs new shocks and struts. I mean, that's one of the things we need. But this car was engineered to be serviced. It took us 5 minutes to change the spark plugs.
Oh yeah.
The
that
brake
was fun.
pads are really easy to change because the clips on the back of the calipers, you remove the clips, slide the pad out, put slide the new pads in, put the clip back in place. You don't have to remove the caliper.
Yeah.
So this thing is engineered to be serviced. Why it wasn't as popular? Well, you can make a lot of arguments for that, but it had a cult following.
Cult following?
It did. There was a cult following for Saab in the States, especially up in the Northeast.
Oh yeah. They're great in the wintertime. For a little convertible, I passed this thing in the snow my first try.
This thing handles very well in bad weather,
Oh yeah.
surprisingly.
I miss it.
It doesn't have the clearance for deep snow, but for bad weather, handles very well.
Oh, I must agree. I do miss driving this car, and I do thank you for letting me borrow it for a day. I went to go pick him up, and he told me flat out we're filming together.
I appreciate you not driving it anymore. You got the green light.
Wow.
So it means I get to drive it.
Oh, I appreciate you not driving the Scion or the Acura. Oh, wait, you love borrowing the Acura on your weekends. He owns a truck and he loves this car, but whenever this car was out of service for the oil cooling lines, he kept on borrowing my Acura. Hey, it's just it's, you know,
It did.
it just goes to show you that we'll share our cars and share our stuff like a family.
I had some work done to it. Now this thing's running better than it ever has.
Hey, are you still going to let me modify it down the road?
Heck no.
I was really wanting to put on a cool exhaust and cold air intake.
We're going to keep this thing OE as long as I can.
There's some aftermarket parts on it.
Now, from what I understand, the way Saab did their paint job, they put an undercoating of primer, especially black primer, underneath the paint job to protect the paint from, or to protect the metal from being exposed to scratches and stuff. So you don't find a lot of them rusting out like you had.
How much does a traditional Saab go for these days, would you say?
Well, they're hard to find. There are groups that have been formed just to try to keep Saabs on the road because they're hard parts. Sometimes parts are hard to find. They're not making them anymore. They're not making the parts for them anymore sometimes. So it's, you know, if you blow an engine, it's going to be hard to find parts for the engine.
Didn't GM, once they buy them, use some GM parts, or am I wrong?
Not necessarily. They left Saab pretty much alone, from what I could tell. The story I heard is the only reason they bought them because the CEO of General Motors' wife loved Saab. So he bought it basically for his wife, but didn't do anything with it.
Really?
They tried to, I think, introduce an SUV that was basically a GM product.
So like a GM.
Badged as a Saab to give us more products to sell. But
They just
other than that, they pretty much left them alone.
So when did GM get forced to sell? Did they choose to sell Saab, or were they kind of...
No, they put them up for sale, and I think no one really wanted to buy them.
Yeah, sadly.
I think around 2009, I think it was the last production year, and it was a low production. And I think There was a Chinese company that bought the rights to them, and I think they're making like an electric Saab, which will have limited success. I don't think they're really producing much of anything.
They're only producing
they're not producing for the U.S. market.
So that will be a big backfire.
Right.
My biggest quick question is, do you ever hope to own another Saab down the road?
I would love to have a Saab Viggen.
Just like
I would love to have a 9.3 Viggen with a 2.3 liter engine. Yeah, of course, every Saab's turbo.
That's one thing that I wish that my Scion did have. I mean, I know you can go ahead and throw in a turbo, but with the forced internals, high compression, there's not really any reason.
Yeah, aftermarket turbos, I'm not too sure how successful they are. I'm one to keep things OE. There's a reason why the engineers at Saab and built the car the way they did.
Yeah, you're
and
old
I figured
school.
They're smarter than I am, so let's leave it the way they are.
Yep. You are kind of old school, but I don't blame you for that. OEM is always better, but I'm one of those, if I have a chance to modify, I'll take it in a heartbeat.
This car is so much fun to drive the way it is. I enjoy it. I don't want to change it much to take a risk of
anything.
Of harming it in any way.
I wouldn't either. I mean, I know I was a stupid high schooler, but once my Maxima went and blew up the way it did, it taught me a lot. The story behind the Maxima, you guys, was I was on the highway just driving it like normal. I was rough with it because I was a teenager. And on my way to work, it would not go over 60. I'm like, okay, I'll just kind of like tap it down. Maybe something's acting up, you know? All of a sudden, it would not go over 30. And I'm like, okay. And imagine doing 30 on a highway. That's fun.
Well, even when you traded it in, the people at the dealership couldn't get over 10 to get it in the back lot.
Nope. My salesman friend said that car, whatever I did to it, it was on its last leg. Do I miss it? No. I mean, it was a great car for what it was.
But one thing we could remember when we changed the spark plugs in this car.
Yes.
All right. You know how big a difference that made it to the production performance of the car.
Of course.
All right. It made a huge difference just by maintaining the car with regular tune-ups and spark plugs and doing all those regular oil changes and keeping the oil clean, air filter, all that stuff. You'll be able to keep the car at a pretty high performance, as close as it was when it first came out.
You see, that's the problem with us Americans. 90% of us don't even know how to take good care of our own car.
No, you don't.
You just drive it till it needs oil or drives it till something breaks.
Cars are a huge expense, and yeah, maintaining it is an expense too, but if you maintain your car properly, it'll last a long time.
See, that's the problem with some car people like us. We know how to take good care of it, but my Maxima was a perfect example. 230,000 miles. I think the engine was starting to knock, and it was just gone. It was too far gone.
It wasn't well taken care of before you got it.
Yeah,
we tried to resurrect it. We improved it, but I think the Cadillac converter was pretty much shot.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to pay money for a new Cat. It would
cost more than you paid for the car, for the new Cadillac.
I'm just one of those for a first car. It was good. Just in my county, you got to pass safety and emissions.
So we learned a lot on that car as far as how to do repairs. We did all the ball joints.
I did have a lot of fun working on it.
Tie rods, the brake jobs, bleeding brakes.
We
learned a lot of stuff. And we learned a lot of this stuff from YouTube instructional videos.
Thanks, you guys on YouTube. You guys are amazing on how to do it yourself type works. But it's just amazing. I'm going to flip around the camera and show you guys what. Okay, as you guys can see, this is what I see through my sights. This is probably hands down the best convertible that I actually have. I can see both sides of my mirror, and it's awesome. There's no blind spots whatsoever, except for in the back, no offense. But up front, Saab did a great job. Fun fact about Saab, they made airplanes for a long time, so they are well engineered. My only complaint about Saab is it's hard to work on.
Saab made jets. The airplanes they made were fighter jets.
Fighter jets, really.
If I remember right, I'm almost positive it was fighter jets.
I remember hearing that on Saab, but Saab literally came with instructions on a CD, which I found pretty cool.
But originally the interior was designed to resemble a fighter jet.
Really? So basically, honestly, hands down, this Saab is well engineered from a high schooler beating it up for daily driven with only 121,000 miles on it. I bought this car with I want to say it was right around 110.
Yeah.
And
But it's also 18 years old. This car is 18 years old and is still running at very high level of performance.
It just goes to show you, if you guys do regular maintenance, it will make a huge difference.
You get a very well engineered car like a Saab and maintain it well. So you can get any car that's really well engineered, but if you don't maintain it well, it's not going to last.
Nope.
You have got to take care of it.
You have to. And
especially with the smaller engines, it's regular maintenance is that much more important.
if you don't mind me asking, how much did you pay roughly for the Saab?
I think it was around 4,500 or less. It might have been less than that because
I think it was around $5,000.
no, they wanted $5,000, but I convinced them that they don't make Saabs anymore. They're not going to get parts. No one's going to want it. So they came down a lot more than they should have.
They originally, I think, wanted 55. We got for 45, but after all the fees and this dumb stuff, I think we got it for about 47 to 48.
Somewhere around in there.
And I was so happy because this car was cool. It was unique. And just driving to high school, the best part was all my friends were like, well, there's E. And I remember one of my good teachers, one of my best PE teachers, his daughter, she said, that's your convertible? I'm like, yeah. And it felt pretty good to hear from a popular student say, I really like your car. Yeah. Of course, whenever you pull up to a red light, people are always coming up there revving like crazy.
But one thing also you got to know is that Saab, when they were making Saab, they were rated very high for safety, even above Volvo.
Really?
Yes, just that they weren't high production because they didn't have the popularity of Volvo, but safety-wise, they're rated very high.
That's just amazing. It just goes to show you that. Okay, quick question: was Saab put up against like BMW, the other high-end car companies?
What, safety-wise?
No, just price-wise.
Yeah, they priced themselves around the same. I don't know how much this car was brand new, but Saabs were going for, this model ran around 25 to 30 back when this car released back in 2002. Which, it was probably competitive, probably maybe right around the same as a BMW, maybe a little less. But
That's
BMW
awesome.
had the name recognition. German auto manufacturers, they're good cars as well.
That's
but
awesome.
This Saab had a following that was very reliable. I mean, they were consistent. They liked Saab, and they would buy the Saabs.
I like them too. I just wish that Saab was still here in America, because honestly, even though that it is a European type car, it's nice to hear that they all came turboed.
Yeah, this was the only Swedish car.
Wow.
Sweden.
So who was Saab's opponent?
Well, basically for this model would be BMW, Audi.
Okay.
Well,
for out of all those, I kind of like Saab because Saab is different.
Yeah, I mean, I like BMWs. I like Audis as well. But in high school, my friend Dan Watkins and he got me into Saabs, and I fell in love with the style.
Didn't Eric
Adams, my friend Eric Adams, he had a Saab 9.3 and he had a Saab Viggen. Yeah.
Were they pretty fast?
Oh yeah, the Viggen is just stupid fast. It is unbelievable. You get yourself in a lot of trouble doing that right now. It's it's a 2.3 instead of the 2.0.
So you got an extra 3 liters.
It has a higher rate of suspension, and so it was rated pretty much higher but they didn't have a high production volume because they didn't have the sales.
Wow. Well, hey, guys, if you can go around your area just for fun, look up where how many Saabs are for sale in your area. I've seen them in my area between $2,000 to $10,000.
And let us know what you think of this car. What you think of Saab, of our Saab.
Don't forget to press that subscribe button. Let us know what you think about the Saab. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at SmithEM2000 and to email me at 6speeders2019@gmail.com. And if you ever want to see another car review, please let us know. Thank you, Dad, so much for being part of this.
It was fun.
And I'm just grateful for all you guys. We just hit 613 subscribers. Thank you, each and every one of you guys. We're on our way up to 1,000, and our watch time is going up, so thank you guys so much. Thank you guys again so much for the 600 subscribers. We're on our way up to 1,000. Thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, press that like button. Don't forget to leave a comment if you ever want to see another future car review. Thank you.